All right, hello everyone. This is Kendra Watkins, and we're doing something a little different today, something a little special. It is National Student Athlete Day, and we wanted to get some student athletes together, and we're going to talk about just what it means to be a student athlete and just acknowledge the day. I mean, National Student Athlete Day was created by the Institute of Sport and Social Justice. It's now celebrated in partnership with the NCAA and the National Federation of State High School Associations. So with that being said, I wanted to introduce my panel. I have a panel. I'm official now, I have a panel. But I wanted to introduce my panel. We'll start, Justin, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Kendrell. My name is Justin Betts. I'm a fifth-year senior here at Bellarmine University in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm on the men's basketball team. I'm currently pursuing my master's in business administration. I'm still trying to navigate what's next as far as if I'm going to play another year, if I'm going to start my career. But I've been in the SAC here for 3 years with the ASUN. And yeah, I'm really excited to get talking about what we do in our daily lives, the pros and cons of being a student athlete in college. And I think that Courtney and Ashley will have a lot of the same opinions as I do, but we all have different lives. So thank you for having us on.
Thank you. All right, Ashley, what throw to you next?
Hi, my name is Ashley Kozad. I go to the University of North Florida. I am a junior and I am a member of the women's swim team. I've also been on SAC since my sophomore year at the ASUN level and involved at the institutional level since my freshman year. I also agree with Justin that this is a really great group and I'm excited to have a conversation today.
All right, thank you, Ashley. And Courtney, bring us home.
Hi, everyone. I'm Courtney Van Loom. I'm a fifth-year senior at Florida Gulf Coast University. I've played both volleyball and beach volleyball here for the past 5 years. I've been heavily involved with SAC, just like the other two. I've been the institutional president for 2 years, and then this is my first and final year as the ASUN president. So I'm looking forward to learning more about the other people in this panel, and then hopefully spreading some more information about what life is like as a student athlete.
All right, awesome. And I mean, I think the first thing I want to ask is just because you guys have a whole day. So I wanted to ask, what do you do on this day? Like, is there anything special? Like, do you have a cheat day? Is it like, what happens on Student Athlete Day?
I think it's just a typical day for me. Go to practice, go to workouts, work, do homework, whatever day of the week it falls on, it's a typical day. We just get to post a little bit about what we get to do in our sports.
Got you.
I know this year UNF is doing something a little bit different. They're actually having, like, I want to say, I don't know exactly what to call it, but they're having kind of like a get together at our new beach volleyball complex that opened last year. And they're doing it from 4 to 6 p.m. to kind of preface the softball game that we're having at 6 p.m. And they're inviting all student athletes to come out. And it's really exciting because this is something that we've never done before. So I'm hoping that we're successful with it this year. And it also just shows that our new administration appreciates us a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. It's not a super different day, but I think there is more recognition and appreciation around campus and on social media platforms, as Courtney mentioned. But this year, we're actually launching a mental health campaign that a few of our SAC members put together. And then we have our awards banquet the next day on the 7th. So it's kind of the first year that the SAC has been in charge of our awards banquet. And so we're looking forward to that. It's kind of all in line with Student Athlete Day, so that's fun.
Okay, well, another question I wanted to ask, because I know that you guys, like, you're in class, you walk around the halls, you maybe live on campus, whatever may be going on. But I wanted to ask, what is the difference, other than playing sports, of course, but what is the difference from being a student athlete just from being a regular student, in your opinion?
I can start this one if you want me to. So I think that at Bellarmine and a lot of the ASUN schools, there's a very close community surrounding the university. and the ability to network and to build relationships, not only with other students on campus, but with alumni and boosters is a great opportunity. And that's something that I've seen firsthand. I've had a lot of past teammates go into careers with people that they've met at Bellarmine or through Bellarmine. I think the opportunity to show our brand and to play in front of the community is one of the best opportunities we can have. So if we carry ourselves well, and hopefully we look good in the eyes of others and build those relationships.
I can second that. I definitely agree with that sentiment. UNF, since we don't have football, we have a smaller group of student athletes. And because of that, we're able to connect a lot more with each other. And I think that's like a really big deal of being an athlete that regular students may not have if they're not a part of something. So I think just feeling like you're involved so well, and I think SAC has done that, like that it's helped me a lot with that, and trying to encourage others to be involved has been really beneficial.
Gotcha. All right, well, I guess another question I want to ask, just take me through a typical day in the life of a student athlete. You're in season, you wake up, go.
All right, I got this. So Monday morning, wake up at 6:10. I leave my house around 6:30. We have practice from 7 to 9 in the morning. And then we lift from 10 to 11. And then I have class from 12 to 1:15. And I have another class from 1:30 to 2:45. And it's right around where our academic building is. So I always kind of find my way over there. I like to talk and hang out with like some of my friends over there. And then I'll probably do some work there. And depending on if it's a day where we have doubles, which is not on Mondays, but that's on Tuesdays, we'll swim from 2 to 3:30 in the afternoon as well. So it kind of just flips back and forth depending on the day. And then usually at night, I come back here and I either do some work or I watch some TV. And yeah, those are my days.
All right, Courtney, add on that.
It's a little different for me the last year because I've been in an online master's program, which means I don't go to class on campus, which is a bit of a bummer because I loved going to class on campus, seeing how beautiful our campus is, and then getting to interact with other people. But now in season, wake up, we go to workouts, come home, work on some homework. Depending on the day, I'll do some work. I am also working a part-time job right now. So I'll clock in, do a little bit of work, and then go to practice after that. And then depending on the day, if there are any sporting events, we like to really kind of show our support for other student athletes by attending their events. So whether it's a baseball game or a tennis game or basketball game, regardless, we like to be there to support.
Justin, what about yourself?
Yeah, kind of what Courtney said, my schedule's been a little bit different this year since I'm doing a graduate program, but we usually, especially in the off season, we'll have weights in the morning, sometimes 7, sometimes 9. And then today, for example, after this, I have an athletics advisory board meeting, which is a board we put together for the transition from D2 to D1. And then I'm getting together with a few other SAC members at 12:30 to shoot a video for our athletics banquet. And then we'll have individuals for basketball later on in the day. And then all of my classes are at night. So I have class 6:30 to 9 tonight. And then after that, kind of what Ashley said, it's miscellaneous, but I think I have some laundry to do. So I'll take care of that. So it's a full day, but most of the time, it goes by really, really fast.
Okay, well, let me ask, because, I've seen you guys for a couple of years now, whether I was holding the camera, making a graphic, or just watching you guys play or compete. Just tell me, what is the hardest part of being a student athlete?
Time management. I think that because you have so many things going on just between sports and academics, and then a lot of times student athletes are involved in other things. For us three, for example, it's SAC, not only at an institutional level, but also at a conference level. And so being able to balance all of the different responsibilities that you have can be pretty time consuming and a little stressful if you don't manage it correctly.
Yeah, I'd say time management, in particular, traveling during the season. It's been really hard. I mean, we've traveled a lot more this year than we ever have. So using your time wisely when you're on the road is integral to succeeding, but we learned that pretty quickly. So yeah, definitely time management.
I agree with the time management thing, but I think the biggest thing for me has been understanding and accepting that you don't have to do everything and that you can allow other people to do things for you, especially like within the SAC realm. I know me and Courtney just talked about this. It's understanding that other people can take on responsibilities and that when you work together as a team, you're actually more successful than if you just do it alone.
That is very interesting. That's something that years later I'm still struggling with. I'm so used to taking things from A to Z and doing like as much as I possibly can. I think that's just been like my biggest thing, just learning how to let things go and trust others, because it's not really that people aren't incapable of doing certain things. It's just, you having to trust people in order to do it, and, just being able to relinquish some of the control. So I definitely understand that. I wanted to ask, just when it comes to, because Justin did touch on something that I did think about, because just like for the men's basketball tournament and the women's basketball tournament, just moving around so much and seeing some of the teams, because the airport is a very funny place. Like when you're going through the airport, you see a lot of teams that are just moving from point A to point B. And you see a lot of teams at the terminals just laying down, doing homework, just waiting on the flight. Tell me about travel and just moving from point A to point B in between your games or your meets. What do you have to do from a time management standpoint, just from a scholastic standpoint, to stay on task?
Yeah, I'd say for me personally, it starts with communicating with your professors in advance, because that makes your life a whole lot easier whenever they know what's going on. But during the travel itself, I think bus rides are a lot easier to get stuff done just because you're there and you don't have anything to worry about until you get to your destination. But flying, that's new to us because we didn't fly much before this year. And that was really hard for me to get stuff done, just as you mentioned it. Like you get to the terminal and then everybody's laying down, taking a nap and doing all kinds of stuff like that. But I think that our professors work really well with us, and that's the biggest key to our success here.
Gotcha.
So for us, I've personally never flown for a travel meet, so I can't really relate to that experience, but I know that I agree with you with the bus rides. Sometimes it's easy to get stuff done and sometimes it's not, depending on what time of day it is or that type of realm. But from a scholastic standpoint, communicating with the professors is definitely the number one priority. And I know for our freshmen who have required study hall, I know that they have to make sure they have all of their hours done before a certain amount of time, but they also reduce their hours during travel weeks because they know that you're not going to actually be here, but they still have to do a certain amount. And I know like when I was a freshman, I was always super on top of that. And it helps to hold you accountable.
I think one of the lessons I learned is remembering to take the correct books when you go on travel trips, because I have gotten to a place and realized I left a book at home that I forgot and I needed. And that was not a good sight, because then I was stuck with no book and I wasn't able to do some of the assignments. But I learned that lesson pretty quickly. I think another thing is that our program has done really well is we do mandatory hours on the road. So at least 1 or 2 hours a trip, we will meet in the lobby of a hotel, and it's mandatory study hall. You have to do your homework. You have to be on your computer. You have to put your phone away. That way you're completely focused for at least 1 hour. That way that it's kind of a way for our coaches to show that they prioritize our academics and they hold a really high standard for that.
And that's the thing I was talking about, or the thing I was thinking, just from a standpoint of like, you have to go beyond, above and beyond, because when I'm watching ESPN or when I'm watching wherever the game is streaming or the meet is streaming, I'm just thinking about just a competition level, just you guys competing. And I'm like, oh, this person's going up against that person, or this person's definitely trying to beat this particular time, like during the course of the year, like they have to, PR or whatever they have to do. I don't think about, oh, did she bring her correct book? Is that on her mind, or is that on your mind? So it's very interesting just to think of something like that. And I wanted to ask you, I guess, has something like that ever gotten in your head or thrown you off, where it's like, okay, I have to compete. However, I have to get this assignment done. And, you're just weighing that while you're actually competing. Well, not while you're actually competing, but during the course of the trip.
Yeah, actually, our first travel trip for beach season this year fell on my finals week. So I was traveling, trying to study. We played all day Friday and I had a final due that night. So after we had spent 8 hours in the heat and the sun, I had to take an 1.5-hour exam after. And so it's hard because we want to do both of those things to the best of your ability, but sometimes they can get in the way of each other. Maybe I wasn't at my best from a performance standpoint during my games, or for my final, I didn't get enough time to study as I would have liked. And so I kind of slacked a little bit in that area. So it's kind of learning to balance and realize that there are going to have to be some little sacrifices to make sure you can get it all done.
Gotcha. Ashley, stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely happened to me. When we went to February, we were gone for a full week. And especially with online classes, they open up on Monday and they close on Sunday usually. So you can't necessarily take those tests early. And I know I had 2 exams during that week, and I was sitting in the hotel. I'm like, okay, I have to do this before this meet starts because I know I will not do it if I don't. So I was thankful that it was open for long enough that I had the time. But I know that there's been other athletes who they had an exam open on Friday and it closed on Sunday, and they're competing that whole time. So they're trying to find a way to fit it all in, like Courtney was saying, and it does weigh down on you, and you're trying to figure out, again, how to time manage without taking away from your sport or your schoolwork.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. And especially early in my career, I was not the best at handling both. And I remember we had practice on finals week, like right after my finals, and I was brain dead when I got there, and I just had a terrible practice. And I think I've slowly gotten better at it. And this year we were on a West Coast trip during our finals week, and I was just trying to juggle projects, and I was not getting them done as fast as I wanted to, just because when you're on the road, you constantly have stuff that they keep you busy. So it is hard, especially whenever you have big exams, but I think you see it in most of the freshmen that come in that it weighs on them, but they get better and better at handling it as time goes on.
That time change, I bet that sometimes the time change and bad Wi-Fi, those can be the 2 worst things for traveling on the road. They'll get me every
Definitely.
time.
Yeah, the time change is rough.
Yeah, I mean, that's so interesting. See, it's the small things. See, time changes, bad Wi-Fi. Yeah, bad Wi-Fi is the worst. Or just slow Wi-Fi. Like I've learned a lot with just hotels and just the high internet speeds. Just always click the button. Like that's with me personally, just because we're streaming a lot of things, and yeah, it can be the worst sometimes. But I wanted to ask, just what do you believe some of the pros and cons are about being a student athlete? Like, are there parts of your student experience that you have to give up in order to be a student athlete? Or, I mean, just tell me more about that.
Go ahead, Justin.
Okay, you sure? All right, I think the biggest con is that, or biggest pro, I'm sorry, I was saying pros, is that you come in and you're immediately a part of the family. You don't have to go out of your way to get involved in an organization, and you're recruited and you're wanted at your university or your team. And so for a lot of students, that's hard to get established, and it can take a few months to even be involved in a group. So and you're always gonna have people that have your back, and that's pretty much all you could ask for as a college student. Obviously the cons we mentioned are time management and being busy, but at the same time, like, it's a good type of busy, and we're getting to do things and travel places. That's something that I've loved doing, and just getting to play against some awesome competition as well. And I've made some great friends on other teams, and that's something that I think the ASUN is unique with, is that there's a lot of respect amongst teams. And so yeah, I think the relationship building, the ability to come into college and immediately be accepted, those are the two biggest pros that stand out to me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the family part. One of like my most notable memories of UNF was when I was a freshman and we were having, like, it was the day before school and they have the welcome back thing in the arena, and our athletic director got in front of everybody and he was like, "We are a family year," and he handed everybody all these t-shirts that said Osprey family on it. It was like, at first I'm like, oh, this is kind of dumb, but now I get it, and I'm like, oh, it actually like meant a lot to me that the entire, obviously this was pre-COVID, the entire athletic department was in one room, and it just like, these people are here for me and I'm going to be here for them moving forward. And you're right about the cons. Sometimes you do have to miss out on certain things, but granted, you're usually with your team when you're missing out on certain things, and some of those people on my team are some of my best friends. So I would have never been friends with them without the opportunities that UNF gave me. So it goes both ways.
I definitely agree with both of you. I think that one of the biggest pros that I've come to realize is the platform that playing college athletics can give you, both in the community and nowadays on social media. You have power in your voice and you can accomplish things just by using the platform that you're given. A con to that is that you're constantly under a microscope. So at least here at FGCU, we have a big emphasis on positive publicity and knowing that everybody in the community is watching you, because the community cares a lot about the university and the athletic program. So knowing that people are always watching, no matter where you are, even if it's out at Walmart just doing grocery shopping, is something I've always had to stay cognizant of, because how you act and is a direct reflection of how the athletic program is viewed. So that's something that I've seen as both a pro and a con throughout my years here.
Yeah, that's definitely true. We get like a list of rules from our coach every year, and the number one rule is don't embarrass the program. And he always tells us, he's like, no matter where you are constantly a representative of UNF and UNF swimming. So it is good and bad because it brings connections. Like, I've had random people come up to be like, "Oh, you swim?" It's like, I used to do this or I used to do that. And you have really good conversations, but at the same time, you do have to be very aware of your actions, which is important.
Okay, well, I think one thing I did want to ask was just, touching on that. How do you feel, or, because it's a lot, like, you're competing, people see you, out in the community. How does that affect you just from a day to day? Like, if you have a bad game or something like that, and you see people in the community, like, do they come up to you? Do they say something about it? Or, do people mention things like, when you're walking around the campus?
I've definitely had people come up to me like after a bad game, but it's pretty much been a positive, "Oh, you got the next one," instead of "I can't believe you played like that." So it's honestly been more of a positive interaction than it ever has been a negative. And it leaves me feeling better knowing that even when I may not play my best these people care about me and how I'm feeling instead of just the success of the program.
I would agree with that 100%. It's almost always positive. And often there's a lot of support on campus as well, but we're really close to the city of Louisville and downtown. And whenever we're eating out or walking around down there, there's a lot of support as well. And especially after the ASUN tournament, a lot of people noticed more. And so that was cool to see. But there's always a positive outlook on campus. And I think our student athletes and our students, those that don't play sports, are very supportive. So it's cool to have a close-knit community that sees that every day.
I think everybody, especially like at UNF, understands that we're not perfect and that you're not going to have the best meet of your life every single time you swim or the best game ever. So it's like they understand that you're not going to perform at 110% every single time. Yes, the effort will be there, but the performance may not, if that makes sense. And so because of that, I've had really positive interactions as well. I haven't really had a whole lot just because we're not as well known of the sport, but either way, it's still all been really positive.
I would say, like, going off of that, especially because most of the people we interact with are student athletes, I think that we kind of get it. Like if I see someone and I think, oh, they had a bad game, like I've been there. I know what it's like. I understand that maybe they just had an off day and the next one will be better.
Okay, well, I think another question I wanted to ask, just because like, you know, you're trying to definitely, like, the main goal is to graduate. The main goal is just to move on and be successful, as well as, you know, have success while you're actually competing. And I wanted to bring in the mental health component. Just what do you do just for self-care? What are some things that you do, or some things that you believe the student athlete has to deal with that may be just a little bit, I don't want to say more stressful, but just a different type of stress?
I would say that there are a couple lessons that I've learned throughout my time on, like, battling with mental health as a student athlete. I think the first one is being able to compartmentalize, and you have all of these different aspects of your life. And if one of them is not going well, I think it can be really important to kind of put it aside so that you can focus on the other aspect. So let's say you failed a test or you're not doing well in a class. You can't let that overfill into your athletic performance and then into your social performance. Trying to find a way to compartmentalize and keep things separate is something that I learned that has helped me. And then the other thing is realizing that it's okay not to give your 100% best at everything, because you're not going to be able to. If you can only give 80% on one day, but you give all 80%, that's just as good as trying to give 100% every single day. So I think that's a tough lesson that I really had to learn, especially when I was younger, because I wanted to be the best at everything that I was in school, in athletics, in all my volunteering, in SAC. I wanted to be able to give 100%, and I had to realize that that's not something that was really possible.
Yeah, Courtney, that's a great point, especially on compartmentalizing your stuff. And it's very easy, I think, to get overwhelmed and to allow it to snowball and to get kind of like to be too much to the point where you can't perform in any area. So I think that some things that I have done for like release points, I'm pretty close to my family still. I'm about 30 minutes away. So whether it be calling them or going to see my family, I'm just getting away for a little bit. Or hanging out with maybe some friends that aren't on my direct team and talking to them. And I have some good relationships with other student athletes. And that's something that I'm super thankful for, because you can only talk to your teammates so much to the point where they don't understand it. So release points for me are a huge thing. And sometimes you do have to just step away for a second and gain your breath and get back in it. But yeah, definitely relying on your family and your friends to get through things, because you can't keep it in.
I definitely agree with that. And I think the biggest thing for me has been to not be afraid to ask for help. We have a program at UNF called UNF Perch, which is counseling and advising for specifically student athletes. And I have watched that program go from being, oh, did you hear that they went to Perch, to, oh, they went to Perch. I'm really happy for them. And that's been like really cool to see that progression from my freshman year to now. And I know a lot of people on my team have utilized it. And I think just not being afraid to use the resources that your campus is providing you, as well as talking to others around you and being able to be open about those things and destigmatizing it, has been a really big thing for me.
Kendra, I think you're muted.
I am muted. There we go. All right, back on, unmuted. But one thing I did want to touch on was I wanted to ask, because you guys are all involved in SAC, or the student athlete. Yeah, just you're all in SAC. So I wanted to ask, because I've seen just some of the growth just in the short time that I've been here. Just talking to anyone, how is being a part of SAC, and how has it just helped you just propel you to where you want to be, and I guess after your student athlete experience?
I'm not gonna lie, it's been pretty cool for me. So I was able to go to the last in-person meeting that we've had at Kennesaw State in January of 2020. And that was really, I was a freshman, and that was really the one thing where I was like, oh my goodness, this is for me. I want to get involved in SAC. And I was actually thrown into the UNF president position my sophomore year without really any help at all. So that was kind of nerve-wracking, but I think being thrown into that and being uncomfortable was what allowed me to become successful with an ASUN SAC. And it's helped me to become a really big representative of students on my campus. I was talking to Courtney earlier about how we just got a new athletic director and we're creating a new strategic plan. And I am actually on that strategic plan working group with 15 other administrators. And it's just really cool to see how our university has been incorporating and like really embodying the students first aspect, like Ted says that we are, and we definitely are. And it's been, I wouldn't have had that opportunity without SAC, because my athletic director knows me because of SAC. And that's been something that I've been really thankful for. And it's an opportunity that I'm glad I was able to take advantage of.
Yeah, I would agree, Ashley. It's helped me a lot. And from my time here to now, SAC has grown more and more. And not only does it allow teams to come together and hang out and have fun, but also we're seeing more and more of a difference on campus and in the community. And so we actually delegate committees now, and that's something we just added. And so we give more responsibility to other members of the student body. But as far as like for the future and the way it's helped me, I am on the athletics advisory board here at school, which I think I mentioned earlier in this, but it's like the athletic director is the president, and then a few other people throughout the university, and we get together once a month and just get a pulse of what's going on. And so that opportunity in and of itself is really special, because you're getting to see firsthand that they care about student athletes, and you're also getting to be a voice for that. And like Ashley, I think that student athletes see me as a person that can help them and is wanting to help them. And so I think that is not only a good feeling, but it's cool to have that responsibility. And I also had to learn as I went, because we've had to build up SAC a lot since I've gotten here. It's been really fun.
We've always had a really good SAC. That's actually because our athletic director cares so much about the student athlete experience and the student athlete voice. So I came into a really good, well-established SAC, and I wanted to make it more of something that seemed less like a mandatory and more like a opportunity. And I think throughout the years, people have really, myself included, been able to notice and understand the impact the student athlete voice can have. That you can complain about things all you want, but unless you actually take the opportunities that they give you to make changes, then nothing is going to happen. So I've kind of become a liaison both from the student athletes to the administrators, but also from the administrators to the student athletes. When admin wants to know, oh, what do student athletes think? A lot of times they'll ask me, which has been an incredible opportunity. I feel I can kind of feel myself making a difference on the university itself. So it's really, I felt empowered through SAC to just better the university and the student athlete experience, not only at FGCU, but also within the ASUN. And that's kind of sparked an interest for a future career path. That's something I want to continue as I move into the real world pretty soon. I want to get into athletic administration and bring what I've learned in my experience as a student athlete into administration, to be able to have a fresh perspective for whatever program I can be in.
All right,
Yeah,
that's
I want
awesome.
to touch a little bit on that. I'm sorry. Now that you say that, Courtney, the amount of surveys I have created asking for student athlete opinions, asking for the admins are like, we want to know this. I'm like, okay, let me ask. It's amazing to see, like, they really do want our opinions, but the only way you're going to be able to give them is if you do it in a way that you're showing the opportunities. Like you said, you can complain all you want, but unless you actually try to implement the change, that's the only way you're going to be successful. And I think SAC has given all of us a platform to do that. And I'm similar to Justin. We're in the process of rebranding our SAC right now. And it's been really rewarding to be a part of that and to hopefully make it more of an opportunity instead of a chore. And I'm really thankful for those opportunities that we've had.
And I mean, one thing I was going to say was just from just being able to work with you guys just over the last couple of years, and Justin this past year, like I've just seen the growth. Like Justin, you had the whole Let Betterment Play campaign. Like you had a whole hashtag for a minute, so that was pretty awesome. And you know, you had some quotables. Some things that we can definitely have moving forward. So just speak on that and just where did that come from? Like just galvanizing, you know, the team and the community, as well as, you know, the NCAA community, because, you know, it was national.
Yeah. So that definitely didn't just come from me by any means. Our coaches and our team got together and we put together a few points of why we believe that we should be eligible, and a few reasons that we think that people would get behind us and support us. And yeah, I mean, it started right after the game because the next day we weren't sure if we could play in the NIT or not, and then we found out we couldn't. And that was kind of a heartbreaker for us, obviously, especially after we went into the game thinking that. But yeah, the campaign itself, it happened really, really fast. So we had a meeting with Coach Davenport the next day. All of our captains did. And we expressed to him that we want to try to do something about it. And Commissioner Gumbard, he also was reaching out to me and talking to Coach Davenport, and it was kind of a whirlwind of communication happening. And Ted had reached out to the ASUN exec board as well and expressed a few things that were really helpful. But Coach Davenport called called the news within the Louisville community. And that same day, everybody was there in like 4 or 5 hours. And we had it all set up. We had a few people within the program put together a video of different people in the country, like Jay Billis from Dig Vital, that had tweeted about it and expressed that they thought we should be eligible. And so there was a lot of leverage behind it, but Coach D made it happen and called those people, and they were at our gymnasium on a very, very short notice. And yeah, we had it all set up, and it was really cool to see the support and to see the hashtag get going. But it's another example of being able to use your platform. And up until then, it was never that nationwide, but it was cool to see it take off. And just for people to have our back and to support us, because we didn't know what was going to happen. But like Ashley said, you got to use your voice and find different ways to express that. And so that was a unique way for us to do it.
Awesome. And I know, Ashley, you and I spoke previously just in reference to the Golden Laces campaign and you starting that. Just tell me, how has it helped you just putting together initiatives and yeah, speak on that.
So yeah, that was my first ASUN community service initiative that I started. It was actually really cool. I'm not exactly sure how I found it. I don't really remember, but I remember seeing it and I reached out to their representative, what is it called again? It's Go for the Goal. And it's this nonprofit organization that sells gold shoelaces and a bunch of gold memorabilia, things of that nature. And all the profits go to children with cancer within your state. So it's all local. And so what we did is our institutional SAC, we gathered and we had, I think we had like 40 different people purchase shoelaces, and it all went towards their organization. And we actually had our entire volleyball team purchase laces, and they played a game against FGCU. And I know some of the FGCU girls were also wearing the gold laces. That was really cool because I obviously have connections with Courtney, and I was like, hey, do you want to make this happen? And that was something that was really exciting to see be implemented across multiple institutions. And I'm hoping that for years to come that we're able to make it more known within the ASUN, because I'm not exactly sure how successful it was at other institutions, but I'm hoping that we're able to make it more widespread. And I think it just goes to show that really anybody can bring initiatives to the table. And it was something that we were able to implement across multiple states and do in an environment and still impact the community. So I think it just shows that you can still impact the community. You just have to get a little creative with it.
Gotcha. And Courtney, I want to talk about just public speaking, just in general. I remember when I first interviewed you like a couple of years ago, it was like, oh my gosh, I think she's freaking out. And now you're just like a natural now. Like I can talk to you and yeah, you're just chill now. You can bring up initiatives. Like I didn't want to say anything earlier about it because I didn't want to change the way that you were speaking, because I was like, if I bring light to it, she's going to change. So I was like, I don't want to do it, but no, you're just a natural in this public speaking now. So just tell me about just how, being a student athlete and how, being involved in the student advisory or student athlete advisory committee, how that's helped you just in that particular realm and just moving forward when you become part of athletic administration in the future.
Yeah, public speaking is actually something that I've always really liked to do. I'm one of those weirdos that actually enjoys talking in front of people. But I've definitely gotten more comfortable as the years have gone on. I used to think I was really good at it, and then I got more comfortable, and I realized I didn't know what I was doing back then. So it's funny that you mentioned that. I have been able to grow in my public speaking platform from SAC. Because of my presidency at FGCU, I have been chosen, I guess, to speak at several different events throughout the athletic department. And that's something that I take great pride in, representing all student athletes and being, the main voice for student athletes. I take that very seriously because I want to make sure that student athletes are seen in a positive light and that I'm including all types of opinions and backgrounds into whatever type of public speaking I'm doing, whether that's a speech in front of donors or a speech in front of the entire FGCU community, or if it's just something like this. I take great pride in that.
Awesome. And with that being said, because I definitely don't want to keep you guys that long because my light already fell on me. So I have one light left, and yeah, that can go any minute now. So, but I wanted to ask any closing thoughts, just being a student athlete, like anything that you guys wanted to add. This is your day. So anything you guys wanted to add or just speak on for student athletes just coming in the future that are following behind you that may, take or come into your organization after you, or come into the team after you? Any words of wisdom that you can offer?
Yeah, I could talk on that. I think not being afraid to get involved, because I think I was a little bit scared at first, and then I was kind of forced to go to a SAC meeting. That really is what catapulted my involvement with the university. And I also think not being afraid to challenge certain things, because the university is there for you. And if you see something necessarily that is wrong or needs innovation, I guess is the right word, don't be afraid to ask questions. And don't be afraid to meet with your administrators to go over certain things and make an impact on your university, because it does go a long way, and they will usually listen to you.
Yeah, I would say, just as a student athlete in general, just appreciate each day. And you're gonna have really bad days, but you're also gonna have days that you'll never forget. And so whenever you do have those bad days and it seems really hard, I would say lean on the people around you, use your resources. And it seems like, especially what Courtney and Ashley have said, all of our campuses have a lot of resources for you, whether it be your coaches, your teammates, SAC, counseling centers, stuff like that. Just never feel like you're alone in whatever you're doing. And then, as Ashley said, just get involved and go for whatever it is that you want, and voice your opinions. And if they get shot down, they get shot down, but at least you know you tried. And you're going to have things that people don't know about. And so if you bring those to the table, you can change a lot of things that you didn't see possible before. And the SAC is a great way to do that. And I encourage all student athletes to be involved in SAC, because it really is an awesome community. And I think that it's gaining a lot of speed in the best way. And Courtney's been awesome as the forefront of the ASUN SAC. And we've had some great ones as I've been here. So just continue to get involved and appreciate what we have, because it really is awesome. So,
Courtney, anything you want to add?
Yeah, it's pretty much what the other two have said, just to take advantage of every opportunity given to you. Whether that's from an academic standpoint, a volunteer standpoint, an athletic standpoint, your university is offering things. You just have to take advantage. And that's just the one thing that I would encourage any student athlete to do.
All right. Well, with that being said, I definitely want to conclude this, and I just want to definitely say, again, happy Student Athlete Day. You guys are so much more polished than what I was at your age. So I find that awesome. Just speaking to you guys and just seeing that the initiatives and things that you guys are bringing forth. And I'm excited for what you guys are going to do moving forward. So again, happy National Student Athlete Day to everyone. Just again, make sure that you follow us on all of our social media platforms, on Instagram and Twitter at ASUN Sports, and also like us on Facebook. We're going to put this up on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube page. So, give us a follow, and follow everyone here. And I'm just going to end it on that note. So you guys have a good day. Okay. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.